Hello and welcome to my channel. So this is my first official video on my channel, and today I wanted to talk about my favorite thing, which is books, specifically the books that I read in January and kind of the books that I'm currently reading. I have this drink. It's like a mushroom drink, not magic mushrooms, but it has mushrooms and reishi, lion's mane, L-theanine, and a bunch of other stuff in it. So we're gonna drink that. This flavor is strawberry lavender. That's actually pretty good. In January, I feel like I did pretty good. It was a pretty good reading month. I think I read 6 or 7 books. I'm not really sure. We'll get into that. I track all my books on Goodreads, so if you want to follow me there, I'll put the link in the description and we can share our favorite books and stuff. Yeah, this year I think I want to read 50 and I'm pretty much on track for that. I did go on vacation. I was away for 2 weeks in the Dominican Republic, so I was able to read on my Kindle as well. So a lot of my books are gonna be on my Kindle. I only have, I think, 3 like physical books, and then one of them I left at my friend's house, so we'll just pretend like I have them here with me today. I just want to show you guys my Kindle because it's so fucking cute. This is my baby. I just switched out the insert, whatever. So it's literally wrapping paper. I got this wrapping paper from the drugstore. I just cut it out to the size and then I just have a clear case. If you're thinking about getting a Kindle, get a Kindle. Plus, Kindle Unlimited has so many good books. There's kind of a theme going on. I don't know if you'll be able to tell from the title, but a lot of the books, I'm pretty sure everything except for 2 was a Sapphic romance. I haven't really read a lot of Sapphic romances before. This is kind of the first time that I'm diving into that genre, and I am here for it. I am fucking obsessed and I don't want to leave. I feel like if I read like a straight romance now, I'm just gonna be like, it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like, if you know, you know. So I have 1 5-star from January and I have one that was like 2.5 stars. So the first book I read was on my Kindle. It's called On the Same Page by Haley Cass, and I gave that one 3 stars just because for me personally I feel like it was way too long. I know a lot of people love this book, but I don't know, I just like, she was saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, and I'm like, I get it, it's yearning, but for me it was just like, you said this a million times, and I don't know, I like it to be fresh and exciting and fun and new. The thing about me is, as soon as I put down a book, I cannot for the life of me remember what happened in the book, so don't mind me, I have my notes. Basically, it follows these 2 girls. One of them is out, she's proud, she's an influencer, and her best friend is going through kind of like a crisis when it comes to her relationships. Something happens and they end up hooking up. She realizes that she's basically been in love with her best friend like for 10 years. So I really liked that, like the yearning part of it. The second book that I finished in January was Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Haworth. This book has a special place in my heart. It is so beautifully written. A lot of people say that it's like the Normal People for lesbians. If you haven't read Normal People by Sally Rooney, that is also another great read, one of my favorites, honestly. It's basically set in the 1990s in Ireland. It's a coming of age story of this girl who also realizes that she's in love with her best friend. It kind of follows the ups and downs of like hiding it from her family because they're very religious, hiding it from her friends because she's scared of what they're gonna think. I just love how it was written, like the thought process. It was kind of freaky. There was some weird shit, which I love. Definitely a lot of yearning as well in this book. Throughout the whole book, my heart was just in pain. It felt like somebody was gripping it so tightly and I couldn't like breathe. The main character also, like, she low-key pissed me off the whole time, but I don't want to give it away why. Do yourself a favor and read this book. And also, it's just beautiful. I'm such a sucker for like the cover. I can't lie, I am the type of bitch that will judge a book by its cover. So when I saw that this one had a beautiful cover, I was like, thank the Lord. And for this book, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. The third book I finished was The Institute by Stephen King, and I really liked this in the beginning, I can't lie. I picked it up in October for a book club that I started in my town. We never end up meeting. I feel like that happens so often. I'll literally start book clubs with so many different groups of people and then it just never falls through. Like, we all get the book, maybe we'll have 1 or 2 meetings and then life just gets in the way. But anyways, I was reading this in October. I kind of fell off in December, and it's a fat book. This is also my first Stephen King book. It reminded me a lot of Stranger Things. It's basically about this little boy who gets kidnapped and then he's put in an institute, and then he finds out it's because he has these like telekinetic and telepathic abilities. And then there's a lot of other kids in there that have the same abilities, and they're basically being tortured to use as a government weapon to kill leaders of other governments and yada yada yada, like all that stuff. So it was really fucked up, I can't lie. Like there was a lot of gory shit that was happening, but I feel like personally the last 100 pages, 200 pages maybe even, just was dragging on so much. And I was like, hey, like we already know what's gonna happen, like let's just fucking get on with it. I think part of that is because I stopped reading it for so long that I kind of already had an idea what was gonna happen, and then when I came back to it I was like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. So I don't know, I like, it was good. I kind of want to try reading another one of his books. This book I gave 2.5 stars just because it was not really that interesting for me towards the end. I may or may not have just recorded that video and realized that half of it didn't even fucking record. So we're off to a great start. Next book that I read is The Safe Keep by Yael van der Wooden. I don't have it with me right now. I left it at my friend's house, but this was my 5-star book of the month. It was fucking amazing. It was so good. I will recommend this book to anybody. It's about this woman who lives in her family house alone. She likes things to be a specific way. She's not very social. And she gets invited to dinner one day with her brother, and one of her brothers introduces her to his girlfriend, and they do not get along. Like she does not fuck with her at all. A couple days later, he drops her off at the house, basically being like, you need to take care of her. I'm gonna go off for a couple weeks to a month. I don't even know, like, peace. It was very, very interesting. I loved the way it was written. There was a plot twist. The only problem that I had with it was that it was too short. Like I genuinely just wanted to keep reading after the two main characters got together. I just want everybody to pick this up, whether you like women, whether you like men, whether you read a lot, whether you don't. I don't give a fuck. Pick up the damn book, read it, and trust me, you'll fucking love it. And if you don't, I'm judging you because it was amazing. And this is one of the books that I genuinely want to be seen made into a film adaptation if it's done correctly. This was a 5-star for me, and if you saw the book physically that I have so many annotations, so many notes, so many highlights in it. I would reread this book, and I don't reread books, so if that's enough to tell you, just pick it up. The next book that I read was Outdrawn by Deanna Gray, and it follows these two Black artists. They are comic artists, and it's a grumpy sunshine, enemies to lovers, and I really liked this book. It was light, it was fun. The only thing I will say is they got together too quick, and I don't really like when that happens, because then it's like, if you read romance, you know that a lot of it is the chase. It's the will they, won't they. It's the tension, heavy on the tension. And there wasn't really much tension. I'm like, then it was, everybody was shitting rainbows, and I was like, okay, what about the arguments? What's the big thing that's gonna break you guys up? There wasn't really like a big thing, but I really loved the way they communicated in the book. I really loved the way Deanna Gray gave them a backstory to kind of explain how they are the way that they are. I'm such a self-aware person that I just love knowing like why I'm a certain way, or like what things happened in my life for me to be this way, and reading about that in other characters is very interesting to me. I feel like I didn't really relate to the characters, but all in all, it was a fun read. I gave that one 3 stars. I read it on vacation, so it was a nice light like romance, you know what I mean? The next book I read, this is the last book that I read in January, Tris Six Venom by Penelope Douglas. And if you read Penelope Douglas, you know she's absolutely fucking diabolical, and all the things that she writes about is insane, and you're kind of feeling like you're in a fever dream reading it half the time. What is happening, it's basically like a car crash. You can't look away. I would literally be exclaiming like, oh my god, what the fuck? And my mom would be like, are you okay? And I'm just like, no, like this book is so stupid, like it's so dumb. And she's like, well, you're still reading it though. I'm like, yeah, like I just can't put it down. It's absolutely insane. Like so much was happening that like you couldn't even put it down, because like, okay, the next chapter somebody's gonna be having a food fight, and then the next chapter they're fucking, and then like the next chapter she's ripping her dress apart. It's just like, it's so much. I don't know how to describe it, but it was really interesting. It kept me on my toes. I was reading this for vacation. Every time I picked it up, I knew that something was gonna be happening, and it basically was an enemies to enemies to enemies to enemies to lovers to enemies. But then when they got together, like there was no enemy. Like it's flipped a switch so quick, and I was like, well, this just happened out of nowhere. I feel like it was definitely spicy. It follows these two girls in high school. That's another thing I didn't really like about it. I can't really get behind reading about high schoolers fucking. Maybe I'm just old, I don't know. But it follows these two high schoolers. One of them is preppy, she's rich, she's blonde, and the other one is a biker. She doesn't have parents. She lives with her drug dealing brothers. You know, they're very polar opposites. They basically bully each other throughout their high school experience. There's forced proximity. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to give too much away, but it was very interesting. So I also gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. If you're into spice and diabolical plotline, then pick it up. that was everything that I read in January. So now I just want to talk about the books that I'm currently reading. At the beginning of the year, I made myself kind of a goal that I wanted to read more educational books, not necessarily self-help. I have read Atomic Habits, I have read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Those are great and all, but it's all kind of the same thing, right? But I really wanted to like learn more stuff. The first book that I'm reading right now is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. And if you don't know who John Green is, he's the guy who wrote Looking for Alaska and The Fault in Our Stars. He's a great author. I've read his books when I was like in middle school. I didn't know that he wrote stuff like this, and I just picked it up recently. I'm about a third of the way in, and it's really, really interesting. This book is basically about how tuberculosis is kind of intertwined with everything in life, and it follows this young boy from Sierra Leone, correct me if I'm saying that wrong, who has tuberculosis. There's a lot of fun facts in here. Sometimes I'll just blurt out to my friends, like, did you know that the cowboy hat was created because of tuberculosis? And they're looking at me like, what the fuck, Opal? But like, no, it's true. Read about it. And the other book that I'm currently reading is, I don't know if you can see it, Kiss of Seduction by Ronnie Saber. I read her other book, I finished it a couple days ago, A Little Sin, and holy fuck, that book was so good. I'll talk about it in the next monthly wrap up. If you love women, and if you love spice, and if you love power play, and if you love some paranormal activities and magic and shit like that, read Ronnie Saber's books. They're fucking insane. Like, especially this one is okay. The one that I read, A Little Sin, was so good. Like, I did not want to put that down. I was getting into it. That is what I'm currently reading. So that's everything that I read in January. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Thank you for watching this video. If you watched all the way through, thank you so much. This is my first video and I'm super excited. I'm going to be posting more videos about books, traveling. I have a couple trips planned coming up. I've been wanting to make a YouTube for a long ass time. I think it's been like 13 years. I remember being in middle school begging my parents to let me go to VidCon, and every year I tell myself I'm gonna start a YouTube. I'm gonna start a YouTube. So what's up, fuckers? I'm here. I have a YouTube finally. Please subscribe, and if you watched all the way through, let me know in the comments what books you're reading right now, and if you're not reading, go pick up The Safe Keep. Trust me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.